Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday and sometimes Fridays. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone, and happy 10,000 subscribers on YouTube to us. I changed our sign today to celebrate. That's the extent of my celebration. I was thinking of getting us balloons, but I was like, I don't even know where to get those number balloons, so we're going with the sign. This was a huge week of milestones for us. We hit 100,000 followers on TikTok, we hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we hit 1 million views on YouTube. So lots of things to celebrate all around. And speaking of milestones, I think it's really cool to include that it's also 20 years of Apple Podcasts this weekend, which is really cool because that's what really made the medium go like super mainstream, was Apple kind of adding the podcast symbol and like really promoting podcasts. So very cool. I found this actually through the Unmade newsletter by Tim Burrows. So if you care about Australian media, advertising, marketing, I highly recommend subscribing to Unmade. All right, let's get into the stories for today. The first story that I have for you guys, of course, obviously it has to be the woman who is going so viral for her amazing facelift that she got in Guadalajara. So a TikTok user named @MichelleWood165 is making the rounds on TikTok after documenting her experience getting a facelift in Mexico. The first video that she posted was on the 6th of June, where she introduced herself and essentially explained why she decided to get a facelift and what exactly she planned to get done. So the video has since accumulated 16 million views, and Michelle has amassed over 158,000 followers in this time. She has now gone on to share many videos of her healing from her surgery and has answered a whole lot of questions from viewers. So some viewers are asking more personal questions like how she feels about it all, while others are more logistical questions like how much it cost. In one video, she revealed that it cost roughly 15,000 USD total, which if you know anything about face and neck lifts, like that is a steal. No wonder she went to Mexico for that, and it looks so good. It literally took her from looking in her 50s to in her 20s, and she's still obviously quite swollen. Like I think it takes a full year, they say, to like properly heal from a facelift. So it's going to get better and better, but it is wild how good she looks. That is one of the primary reasons why she's gone viral. Obviously, so many people are shocked by the results of this facelift. One person even described it as the quote, best non-celebrity facelift I've ever seen. The second reason that it's going viral is people are just really interested in how open she's being with this procedure when there are, allegedly more and more celebrities getting this type of work done. It's exceptionally refreshing to see somebody just come online and be like, yep, I'm getting a facelift done, and like, let me document this process for you. And the third reason why it's going viral, this is such a conspiracy theory, but there is a theory that the woman that is claiming to be the after of the facelift is not even the same person. This is just internet users like taking this and running with it. Obviously, this is very unlikely, but it has undoubtedly led to many more people going to view her content and to kind of like jump in on this possible conspiracy theory. I was actually having a similar conversation with Maddie from High Stakes. She was saying she has no idea how old anyone ever is because she's like, especially in our industry, in media and working very much like she works in like beauty and lifestyle. That's even more so. Like the women that work in those industries, a lot of them like in media and stuff, like they are very much getting like constant work done, right? Sometimes it's for work, like sometimes it's for like stories and research. And sometimes it's just part of the pressure of like working in that industry. But like everybody has Botox and filler. And like now these surgical procedures are becoming more and more sophisticated. And, gone are the days when a woman would get a facelift and you could see the scars or like the kind of the skin pulled back around her ears and she couldn't move her head back and forth, right? Like now we're getting full on like Kris Jenner face transplants and they genuinely look 50 years younger, and it's so wild. I feel like this very much ties into filter culture. There's some research out there about like young people and what it's like for them growing up watching their faces through filters on like Snapchat, TikTok, whatever, and looking at other people's faces that are filtered and thinking that they're real. And yeah, it's very interesting. We're at this creepy ass time in like beauty, anti-aging, kind of womanhood in general. And I do want to get off this ride. Like, I do wish that none of this stuff existed so we could all just be like out here raw dogging our own beauty and being like, this is just what I look like. Like we're all on the same playing field. But unfortunately, that is not the case. Okay, the next story that I have for you guys is I need to cover the Waterboy Maddie Murata controversy. So this was from a YouTube comment. One of you guys commented, asked me to speak on it. So this is what I found. If we have missed anything, let me know. There is currently a lot of backlash being leveled toward the social media manager of Waterboy, which is a hydration brand that sells a variety of electrolyte products. The social media manager's name is Maddie Murata. So Maddie has her own social media presence. With her personal account, she has over 200,000 followers, and she's had a fair few viral moments over the years. Waterboy recently hosted a brand trip in Tulum. There were a couple of big name creators there like Hallie Kate, Bran Flakes, Ken Urich, and more. You know, that whole crew. I keep up with that crew, in case you guys couldn't tell. Like, I am constantly eyes on that crew. So Waterboy also did giveaways for the brand trip, which allowed non-influencers to attend. It has become the norm to kind of hate on these brand trips, as we know. We've talked about it so many times. And while these trips are usually criticized for their unabashed displays of wealth, this one has faced a different kind of critique, most of them being toward the new social media manager, Maddie. So from what I've seen, many TikTok users were unimpressed with the content that she was putting out, saying that she wasn't acting like the voice of the brand, but rather that she was simply an attendee on the trip. For instance, there was a lot of content from the trip around how some attendees, like influencers, were drunk or hungover. Many social media managers and marketers on TikTok have pointed out how this would have been the perfect opportunity for Maddie to incorporate the brand in the content that was being put out of these creators being like hungover and drunk. And, you know, it's an electrolyte brand, and she kind of dropped the ball on that one. On top of this, many have criticized Maddie for not including enough content about the non-influencers on the trip, since it obviously was a significant kind of point of interest for this brand trip specifically. All in all, much of this discourse around the brand trip is that Maddie and Waterboy kind of dropped the ball when it came to brand messaging and content planning. On the flip side, some are defending Maddie. Various TikTok users have noted that it was literally her first day on the job, and perhaps she was not given enough direction. The first day on the job, like, talk about being thrown in the deep end, okay? Think about how bad you are at a job in your first, like, several months, let alone your first day. And others have pointed out that, like, the strategy that happened here, like, whatever took place here, seemed to be smart because people are tired of these brand trips, and this kind of content brings them into the behind the scenes of the trip a little bit more. But at the end of the day, obviously, this has truly brought Waterboy into the cultural zeitgeist, whether it's negative or positive. So if the goal was brand awareness, which usually for these trips it is, I mean, Maddie definitely accomplished that. Overall, this is an interesting case study on the type of content that people actually want to see from brand trips. So if we're going to take the general feedback, like the average feedback from Maddie's content, it would appear that users actually want brand accounts to produce more polished content, especially on these types of trips. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think it's more that people are frustrated when they feel like people in the influencer space, whether it's the marketing manager who gets to go on these trips, right? That's still kind of like a privilege. I mean, I get you're working and I'm sure it's like hell, but regardless, or the influencers, whatever, it's like such a glamorized experience and a glamorized industry. And people who are not working in industries like this feel like these are the lucky ones. And so I think sometimes people feel frustrated when it feels like influencers don't take their job seriously. Or, you know, in this case, it would be like the social media manager, like, got this big opportunity and they kind of squandered it. They took the piss a bit, and that's kind of how it felt. Like, they didn't show up prepared to their job when everybody else kind of watching feels like if I performed that poorly at my job, like I would just get fired, and I don't have as cool of a job as that. In other industry-related news, this is going to be tea for the marketing girlies. Maybe you guys know this already, but Cannes Lions is going viral for some fake case studies, allegedly, that were presented at the event. So if you're not familiar with Cannes Lions, it's an international event for people that work in like creative communications, advertising, marketing, those fields. And there are opportunities to win various awards. And two of the festival's winners have found themselves in the center of some controversy this year, which included case studies that were allegedly fabricated. As reported by Ad Age, quote, days after Cannes Lions wrapped two of the festival's top winners, both Brazilian agencies under Omnicom Group's DDB network are facing scrutiny over case studies submitted with their entries, and the fallout has already led to a leadership shakeup at one of the agencies. Essentially, these case studies included AI-generated videos of TED Talks and news clips. Cannes Lions has issued a statement on the matter saying, quote, Cannes Lions has confirmed that after consultation with the entrant company DM9, the Creative Data Lions Grand Prix winner Efficient Way to Pay for Console has been withdrawn. This follows the discovery that AI-generated and manipulated content was used within the case film to simulate real-world events and campaign outcomes, resulting in the jury being presented with inaccurate information during their deliberations. And they also included various measures that will be put forth to try and prevent this from ever happening again. Stuff About Advertising on TikTok shared that this is not just a Cannes problem, noting that these campaigns have been lauded across other industry awards and publications. She goes on to take issue with the complacency that has started to circulate. Quote, so many people upon hearing this news about the fake case studies are going, oh, well, that's just advertising. What do you mean? We need to do more. She goes on to note how embarrassing it is for the people willing to fabricate stories and results for success, before pointing out that it is unfortunately an industry-wide issue. All of this is part of the reason why people are so distrustful of ads and the industry at large. Obviously, this signals a bigger problem with the concept of AI-generated content, and the fact that this was not flagged or noticed before they went on to win is kind of wild. It's scary for what the future holds for us for sure, but it is literally so true. I have spoken about this in different keynotes that I've done, different panels. Like, this industry is so shady. And I always say to like marketers or anyone that is like asking questions about it, it's like, you know what? If a brand, a publisher, whatever is telling you they are reaching like X amount of people and it sounds way too good to be true, ask for screenshots, ask for fucking screen recordings, like ask for proof. Because the chances that they are actually reaching those numbers, if it sounds so wild, it's because they're not. Like, there's so much smoke and mirrors in this industry. It is so frustrating. And that's why for me, it's so important that I'm like always up here being so transparent with you guys. Cause like, it's also my brand, right? So like it's a little bit different than me just like working on behalf of a different publisher or a different media brand and trying to like hit my target or whatever, right? Like, this is my reputation at stake as like an individual. So like, I'm always going to be as honest as possible with you guys, with our advertisers, with whoever. But you know, that's just like not the reality across the board. So much of this, like awards, metrics, whatever, it's so smoke and mirrors. That's why I was in the camp of being like relatively supportive of the decision from Spotify to release the views per video. I understand they rolled that back because of the feedback that smaller creators were giving them. And I also understand that feedback too, where podcasting was like this safe space that didn't really matter. Like if you had a lot of subscribers or whatever, because you couldn't really tell. And so like users were more likely to find, you know, your random small niche podcast or like be interested in listening to it because there was no way to tell how many people were consuming it. So anyways, but that is one of the reasons why I was like somewhat supportive of it, because the things that I hear as a media founder here, some of the metrics that brands that are like my competitors are going out and saying, I'm like, that is like actually physically impossible. Like, that is impossible that you are hitting those numbers. Like, I know. And unless you're in it, it's hard to know. Okay, and the last story that I have for you guys, this is just a bit of a continuation on from Thursday, but Brooke Schofield has confirmed that she is in fact engaged, and she has faced some backlash for how she is defending it. So Brooke has confirmed her engagement to Miles Canton, aka Miles McFly, who is the son of movie producer Neil Canton of the Back to the Future trilogy. Brooke has truly been in the trenches of the comment section on TikTok defending her relationship and clapping back at users who are criticizing them. For very quick context, Miles was accused of dating a high school student while he was in his late 20s. There does seem to be a lot of evidence online, but this is obviously all alleged. Brooke has repeatedly defended Miles against the allegations ever since being together, saying that it's just like Reddit that has made all of this up. So Brooke has spent a lot of time post-engagement kind of defending herself online. One person commented, as a huge fan, I'm so glad she is seemingly happy, but I'm so disappointed in literally the entirety of the friend group for supporting that weirdo. Brooke had the ability for a redemption arc and we lost her. And then Brooke responded, Reddit fable. I like the word fable. I'll give her that. But probably the most kind of egregious example of Brooke clapping back that has truly blown up was to a TikTok user named Ashlyn. Basically, Ashlyn made a video saying that it makes perfect sense that Brooke is marrying Miles, despite the allegations and the fact that they have only been together for a short amount of time, because she suffers from BPD. Ashlyn pulled from her own experience, given that she also has BPD. Brooke went to comment on Ashlyn's video. It has been deleted, but nevertheless, this is what the comment said. I have gone through actual unimaginable things in relationships, and I have shared all of that to help other people, not to have it thrown back in my face. I just got engaged to a man I have been living with for a year, a man who has never so much as raised his voice at me, who makes my life better and easier in every way he knows how. I have never laughed harder or felt more supported and loved. I have never met you. I never will. You do not know more about my relationship than me. You don't even know where your eyebrows are. Brooke doubled down, making fun of Ashlyn's appearance, saying, you actually can't talk about me with bangs like that, now that I think about it. Ashlyn took it in stride, responding with a video where she said, yikes, girl, where is your manager? And then she also made a follow-up saying that Brooke had blocked her. So, okay, like, is it shitty that, like, during this very special moment for Brooke, like, the whole internet is coming for her? Like, yes, of course, this is probably somewhat ruining it for her. She should have posted, if she was going to post that she was engaged, and just, like, logged off, you know? This obviously will blow over in, like, the next few days. She should have just, like, not looked at the comments, like, just ignored it all. But, like, first of all, like, continually defending this and then stooping so low as to, like, make fun of some random person and like what they look like. And, you know, like she was trying to like relate herself to Brooke. Anyways, it was just like such a low blow. I will say though, it seems like the majority of users are using this as kind of like a gotcha moment for Brooke because they don't like her, which is valid, okay? There's lots of reasons not to like Brooke. And I think the heat for this specific situation should go way more on Miles, the man who did this before he even knew Brooke, you know, than on Brooke. But I understand she's also the one with the platform. She's the one bringing him into her audience. So yeah, I understand, but it's not a good look and she just needs to log off. Like, what other influencer is out here defending themselves this shamelessly, this often? And they don't do that for a good reason, because then it blows up like this. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Thank you so much for getting us to 10,000 YouTube subscribers. How exciting. We are thrilled. Hopefully we'll celebrate a bit tomorrow when the girls are in office. I love you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.